There we go. Hello. All right. I think we're looking pretty good here. Looking pretty good. Let us start sending out some invites and get this show on the road. I got a pretty good setup. I'm feeling all right. Going to let a couple people know that I'm on so I can get them on. Because, the show didn't actually start till 7 o'clock. So I got some time before I have to really just get going. And this is kind of part of the ritual, right? Sending out some I don't know what that was, but anyway, I think it's that Wi-Fi. Anyway, let's see what else. Who else? I'll go with the usual suspects and just send out a couple. So while I get ready, I'm gonna close the door real quick. I do. All right, hold on. Very awesome. Try to call back in. I just sat back down. Got my notes. Just let me know you can come on. Hey, very awesome. If you want to call back in, give it a go. I am here. Yeah, give it a go. So I'm gonna get started pretty soon. But all right, hold on. Here we go. Very awesome. Hello, very awesome.
I'm in here. I'm in.
All right, we're in. We're locked in. What's going on, man? How's it been going?
Just want to go ahead and give the Happy New Year spiel.
All right, get it.
Happy New Year. We're here on the other side of 2020. We're 21. We're on 2022. 18 18 more days until the end of my 30s. I'm looking forward to it, and not at the same time, but I'm looking forward to it though because I kind of sort of have a different mindset for my 40s than I did in my 30s, and I'm really prepared to. Well, I'm ready to get prepared, and I'm ready to, it's a beautiful challenge. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to. So,
All right.
January 20th is the date, of course, and I'm all in. So I
Yeah,
guess it's go time.
it is. And I think that's the only way to say it. I'm gonna put a little jazz music on, get off in my zone, waiting for some tea. But yeah, man, that was a beautiful segue into what we're talking about today. And what we're talking about today are life lessons. I'll give another 2 minutes. I'll give another 2 minutes to any other callers, anybody else who wants to tune in. I'll only be allowing two additional people on the call at any given time. So if you are on and it runs a little bit over, give somebody else a chance to talk if there are any other callers on the line. But today we will be talking about life lessons, things that we learned on our journey to where we are now. And I will definitely say to you, awesome, that man, no one prepares you for the barrage of ass whooping that life gives out. Like why we're in such a rush to grow up, it blows my mind. It's can you turn that TV off for me if you don't mind, sir? Oh. No, you can stay on the line. I just want you to turn it down a little bit. But yeah, it's crazy what happens.
No, I muted. I muted it so I could, turn it down.
I
Can
got
you
you.
hear me fine now?
Yeah, perfectly, perfectly. Yeah, but
Any static?
no static. Everything is automatic. No,
All
so
right, let's go.
all right,
No,
let's go.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say to your point, like
Hmm.
I think I think a lot of the reason why we're so in a hurry to grow up is because we want it's the freedom factor. You know what
Freedom.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like as soon as you hit the thing about it is that when we hit 18 and we believe that we're free, we
Hmm.
don't realize that freedom ain't free. You know what I'm saying?
It
Like we
really.
gotta,
You know, it's funny that you say that. The more biblical stories that you read and see, you see that's what the issue is throughout all of humanity, right? Humans' biggest problem is this want to be free of God's will and to do
hmm
whatever you want to do. And it honestly just flat out doesn't work. It doesn't work. This baby's crying in the background. I hope she's okay.
it, and the
Mom's
thing
there.
about it is that the more you stray from God's will, no
Hmm.
matter which way you slice it, if it's not only a long term thing, but
Hmm.
the harder you make things on yourself, whether it's short
Man,
term or long term. Like every time you look
say that
back
again.
every time you look back and see, when you're messing up
Hmm.
or when you were
When you
disobedient to
were
your
messing up,
parents.
when
You
you
know what
were
I'm
messing
saying?
up,
And
not
that's
the
the
parent.
thing. Like I realize that almost at least 95% of the things that problems that I've had in my life are my fault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
something
even if there are external things that have happened to me, I was in an environment that if I wasn't around that, those type of people or, in that situation, that, a lot of that stuff wouldn't have ever happened. I could have been ignorant to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you
And
know what's funny about being ignorant to it? You know, not to get super biblical, but I'm going to because I can because this is my show. Um, what's most interesting about it is it's like I don't know, man. It's everything's paradoxical, especially about being free, thinking that you're on your own and just moving further and further away from God, and it always has the same disastrous um, outcomes. And what's really
hmm
interesting about it is not only does it have the same disastrous outcomes, you realize people that you assumed had good outcomes from these disastrous events were actually lying the whole time
hmm
and making it seem like that things are much better this way because it's the way that they have them as opposed to what would be good, what would actually be good. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different day.
um,
Today, we're talking about life lessons. Life lessons, life lessons. I'll say this about my life lessons. They came I had to learn all of them the hard way. And that was the worst and most painful and stupidest way that you can learn life lessons. You don't have to take your lumps in that fashion. Even though I recently discovered, and I don't know why I didn't know this, but I'm very much a kinetic learner. I've been trying to make beats over the last couple of days. And I have to learn by doing the thing, seeing what doesn't work on the thing, and then go back. And that's how I learn because that's why like I just learned that that'll fall over. Um, that's how I learn. I learn. I get an interest in learning about something once I've tried to tinker with it and I see what doesn't work, and then I can go from there. And then I'm interested in the learning process. And I realize that that seems to be how I seem to make my mistakes in life too. A whole lot of lumps, and I just had to go through them. I don't know why. And I will tell kids out here now that you don't have to go through your own lumps. Like, you can totally just listen to somebody and let them tell you about the lumps that they got and see if there's kind of a pattern. See if their lumps sound anything like your lumps, and just stay away from it. Just seriously stay away from it, especially if you have two or three people that are telling you similar things. If similar people are telling you similar things about one topic, please take heed. Now that definitely might have needed to be on the life lessons list, but let's go down. I have it. I don't know why I call it this, but it's called the rules of life. TROL. Number one, don't give out rides. I'll say them all out, and then I'll go back through them. Don't give out rides. Don't lend money. Don't let anyone live with you. Don't take someone else's woman or man. Those are the kind of the major ones. Now, here are some of the minor ones, but still just as important. I don't know any smart people who don't take advice. People that don't have, most intelligent people have the ability to look back on previous actions and really admit that they had some fault in them. 7 is unsolicited advice, and the eighth one is marriage advice. Now, I broke them down into majors and minors, not because of, oh, that's nice, I'm watercoloring, not because they're any less important than the other ones, but all the other ones, the major ones, I would say that those cause me the most angst and could have easily been avoided. Like the the taking advice, looking back on previous actions, unsolicited advice, marriage advice, those are things that you can, like, it won't destroy your life necessarily if you don't follow those. But if you go around being a taxi cab, lending out money, letting people live with you, and dealing with cheaters or cheating, your life is going to, I promise you, I can guarantee you, your life is going to suck if you run around at any clip doing those things on like a fairly frequent basis. You're going to be really stressed out when it comes to just life. Like, have you ever lent a friend money that didn't pay it back? Like, how did that turn out? Because I remember all the times that I did it, I just ended up hella frustrated. Sorry for just stepping away. I'm trying to really get this watercoloring station thing down. But all I know is they never paid me back on time, especially when it was money that I would, that I sent to them. I mean, sorry, not money that I sent to them, money that I needed back. Never, let me get close to the mic. Never give out money that you need back in any time frame. Do not do it. It is a horribly stupid, rotten idea. You are setting yourself up for disaster. This is a guarantee. Guarantee that it will go bad. Um, I actually had these ranked out um, in list of which Wu Tang member that they are. Um, I need to stop saying I am not going to tell you why these rank in the way that they do, but this is just the way I saw it. So the no rides thing, right? That's like the inspector deck. I'm not going to tell you why. The no money thing, that's Method Man. The no living with you, that's ODB. No taking somebody else's woman, that's Ghostface. The advice thing, That's a jizzle. But anyway, you get the general idea. don't 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 do any of those things. I learned all of those things the long and the hard way. I'm not gonna go into this story, but I remember at one point when I got my car, all of a sudden, when you get a car, young men, young women, all of a sudden you're gonna make a whole lot of friends really, really fast. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, you're just the coolest." It's a lie. They just want to
I'm
use you.
gonna
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna add to that, man. Like,
get in there.
never, ever, 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 ever be the only guy in your crew with a car. Like,
Man,
ever.
man,
Don't
man.
don't be that guy,
Yeah,
bro.
just
Because if you're
actually,
that guy,
you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? The older you
yeah,
get, you start to realize that it is acceptable to leave that group of people. Like, I didn't know that. I thought I
dude,
had to
I don't
befriend
care.
everybody.
I mean, it's really when you. The thing is the last time period I was that guy in a sense. I'd say it was between 25 and 30. I think the time where I realized that I shouldn't be that guy is when I was around. It was the last time I lived. One of the last places I lived with a group of people, and I was one of the only people with a car. I was actually the only person with a car for a while.
Hmm.
And when you have to be the person that has to take everybody to work, that has to make sure everybody gets home at a certain time. You know what I mean? Because you're responsible for these people as well. Because this actually ties in with a lot of other ones. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're responsible for whether this person gets to work or not or all that other stuff, you end up being it's almost as if you're a father figure in a sense. And
Yeah, no,
I'm not going to
no,
be
no.
that
You're
guy.
right. You're becoming a paternal figure, and you're not getting anything from it. And what you'll realize, and this, I know the rides thing sounds so callous, but what you realize in dealing with the wrong types of people, they will see you being a kind person as a weakness, and you will be
Hmm.
giving these fools rides. You would think, because this whoever is on the call, you people who are listening, probably are somebody that has common decency and wouldn't take advantage of somebody on a consistent basis just for a freaking ride. But let me tell you something, people. There are people out there who will do that. I remember I was telling my wife one time, like when we first started dating, she was like, "Why are you so worried about gold diggers and gold digging?" And I told her, gold diggers come in all forms. Like, y'all think that a gold digger or a user has to come in the form of some like embezzler or, some lady that marries his old. No, people are roaches. They will try to get over on you for a cigarette, a ride up the street. Like, just because it's not, and this is
Uh,
what I'm, a beer, all whatever, all that crap. And I used to really think that, which is a foolhardy thinking, and this is in every capacity, that you and other people think alike. I need to write that one down. You and other people do not think alike. People do not think like you. You have to just assume that they're gonna make whatever. Just because you don't think that thought is crazy. I mean, wait, just because you think that thought is crazy, and there's no way somebody could ever come up. Let me tell you something. Somebody came up with that conclusion, as crazy as it is. So don't think that your moral compass and other people's moral compass line up. So, next, don't lend out money. Now, this is extended. Don't lend out money that you can't afford to forget. If you give somebody the money, just give it to them. Just flat out give them the money. Example: Hey, Donald, so I need $1,000. Huh? I'm only okay with losing 30. I'm only okay with losing 100. Here's 100, but I need 1,000. All I can give you is 100. It makes everything simple, and you get to really gauge people's response. Because if somebody acts real shitty to you because of the amount of money that you did or did not give them, that's telling you something right there. That's a huge freaking red flag. Most people
I
are
got
just
something
hold
that
on, hold on for one
okay.
second. Most people are just appreciative. Most good, decent, honest people are just appreciative that you even gave them anything towards their problem. But once again, everybody's not like that. Go ahead, man.
I was going to add on to that. Like, let's say they needed $300 and you can only give them 50. But
Mm-hmm.
they promise you that they'll pay you back no matter how much you give them. You give them say
Mm-hmm.
$50 and they never pay you back. Like, what are you saying about yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if what if I would have given you that $300 and you're here struggling, and people have their hardships. I'm not trying to shit on people for having them. I'm just saying that it's the principle. Like, I decided to give you 50 because it's not all I believed that you could pay me back. It's because that's all I was willing to let go. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And that, that definitely ties in with the fact that ties in with what you said, because I'd rather give them $50 and say, hey, I gave that to them. I'm not going to worry about it. If
Mm-hmm.
I get it back, cool, awesome,
Mm-hmm.
instead of me saying, "Hey, let me lend them $300 and have to chase them or worry if I'm ever going to get it
You know
back."
what the most beautiful thing about doing it that way is? The most
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing about that way is that it actually prevents people from coming back to you. You would think that it would make people want to come more to you. No, because they know eventually no one just gives away money.
No.
So all that's going to happen is the more and more times that you come to me, you're going to get diminishing returns. Before, out of the 300, I gave you 100. The next time, if you're not paying me back, the next time I might give you only 20. The next time, I don't have anything to give you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simple. Not being shitty. Not being shitty.
It's easy.
I don't know why. Because, dude, I used to lend people money that I needed and then sit
Mm-hmm.
there and stress out, calling them,
Yeah.
hey,
No, that
man.
I'm never doing that again. You know
No,
what I mean?
no,
Like,
never,
I've
never, no.
I've I've let people slide too.
Oh, yeah.
Like they'll be behind on rent, and I'll be like, okay, I'll take care of it or whatever the fuck. Now I'm just like, more times than none, I don't even want to give them anything. You know what I'm saying? Because unless if it's dire, I
Hmm.
don't, I don't even want to do that because, um, once again, I'm bordering on the lines of being callous, but I mean, I have to say, I hate to say it, but it's not my problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Call me, call me an asshole, call me mean, call me this, call me that. Like, I remember, this. I mean, this isn't. I knew my homeboy used to be the same way. Whether
Yeah.
it's rides, money, taking care of people's bar tabs, cigarettes, or whatever. He just got to the point where he's like, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving you a ride to work. I'm not lending you any money. I'm not paying for your booze. None of that shit. Like, if you're gonna hang out with us, or if you're gonna be in our little, circle, you gotta pull your own weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the job could be within 5 minutes away from wherever we're at. That doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Because you don't, if
um,
you at a certain point of manhood, even though it's
mm-hmm,
okay to ask for help and stuff like that, man, I was gonna say it. Somebody that's like a real man, you get tired of asking for handouts and assistance all the time. You
mm-hmm,
want to be able to stand on your own. And it's a red flag for somebody that can just keep coming to the well over and over. And I can honestly say, in dealing with those people, I don't miss them. I don't miss nothing about a user. I don't know what
no,
made me think that. I don't know why when you're young, you just don't cut it off quick. Like, I don't know. But anyway, moving on. The next one, don't let anyone live with you. Let me reinforce this one a little bit because people hear this and be like, oh man, so you're going to let people be homeless? No, fool. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if somebody of any part of your family, friends, roommate, don't get roommates, just get your own place, comes to you and asks to live with you, if you do it, which I don't recommend, if you do it, set up a time frame as to how long they can stay there. Once again, it's like the money thing. Say, hey, T, we're in January. I can only let you stay till February. You got to find somewhere else to go. Now, what happens if your friend is going to be legit homeless, right? So, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know, and I'm just being honest. I don't know if I could just sit there and let a friend of mine be homeless. However, I need to know. I'm gonna have to start seeing you. Oh, it's check it. I'm live. Um, I gotta kind of know what kind of person you are, right? Some people I know are prudent, diligent people, and if they're asking me to live with me, something's going really, 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 really bad, right? And on top of it going really, really, really bad, this type of person really isn't going to stay down for too long. So I'd probably be comfortable with doing it because I know that they're going to make an all out effort to address the issue and get up out my house because they're not a freeloader. Now, on the other note, on the other side, freeloaders don't give a damn how long they inconvenience you and sit up in your shit. Let me say it again. Desi, what's going on? Freeloaders do not care. I have room for one more caller. Freeloaders do not care about staying in your home and exhausting your resources. They will do it and they will continue to do it. They will be remorseless. And what you'll start to notice is that your expenses are going to start going up. Yeah, because it costs lights for this person to live there. It costs gas to probably get them wherever they got to go. They need to eat. They might start having people over and they're going to irritate you because it's irritating to walk in to a place that you live and see somebody and it seems like they ain't doing shit. Excuse my language. Stuff. So don't let anybody live with you, Tagba. Do you have anything to say on that one?
I got a little bit to say. It's thing about that is that um especially with friends. Main reason I can't do it with friends is because you get to see that part of them, but they get to see that part of you as well. Like me personally, like I know I've been a terrible roommate at times, dude. Like I've been awful.
Mm.
Um, Especially when I lived near Rice Village. I was I was terrible with dishes. I would, I didn't clean as much.
You know what's funny? Not to cut
Yeah,
you off, but to cut you off,
no, you're
right? For
fine.
1 second. You don't realize how nasty being nasty is. Like, I'm just now becoming more organized with my life, right? And I'm like, now that I'm trying, making a diligent effort, I'm like, how was I existing in all this chaos? Like, that's just really no way to live. You can't focus. You can hop back on, man. I was just
No,
agreeing
I'm
with you.
still here. Like I remember, I even have some old pictures. I didn't, this was the apartment that a couple of my friends lived at, and it's funny because we used to joke about how disgusting it was, but man, it was disgusting. Like I'm talking about ashtray, like 3 or 4 different ashtrays, multiple beer cans and or bottles or whatever we consumed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now use your imagination. During the time, freaking just all over the coffee table, fast food wrappers, and that's just not. Not only is it disgusting, but it's not healthy.
Smoking inside.
Smoking inside, bro. We smoked inside. We
chain. Let
chain
me
smoked
chain
inside.
smoked inside. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah,
And you know
know
what?
what I
And
mean?
thought
Like,
that was just freedom. Thought that was just
yep,
freedom. I don't know
yep.
what. I don't know what my issue. I don't know what my issue was. I don't know what I was rebelling against. I don't know what I was so worked up about that was causing me to be just. I mean, I guess I
Were
was
you, were
just
you
confused.
were
Hmm?
you sheltered in any sense?
Yeah, yeah,
That might be it, because I
very much
was
so.
too, and I
Because
kind of sort of went a little. I
you want
went
to
a
hear something
little.
funny? You want to hear something
Go ahead.
funny?
Hmm.
I used to get on my dad about that, about how he used to be so just overprotective. Like he was always wanting to help you, but he always wanted to help you so much that it kind of hindered you. You know what I'm saying? Because I give you an example. I was pushing my daughter on her tricycle, and I was always pushing her because I thought she couldn't do it, thought she couldn't do it. And then one day she was sitting there trying to get me to push, and I said, "No, you do it." Only for me to find out that she was able to actually do it, and I was the one holding her back because I thought I was making her life easier, and it doesn't work that way. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. Um,
Like,
and
yeah, being soft on a kid doesn't
there's,
always work.
this kind of sort of ties in with one thing we're talking about how we need to listen to those before us. Our parents are basically just trying to keep the rope tight so that we can hold on as much as we can. But the
Because you're
problem
gonna
with
need
us
it
is
later.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we wanted to let go of that rope, not knowing what was,
The
you
ass
know what I'm
whooping,
saying?
the ass
You
whooping comes
know,
on the other side,
you know what I'm saying? Like, we
man.
didn't want to hold on to that rope until we were ready to, until we were ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So we fall, it hurts, and then
repeatedly.
and then sometimes we even ask for that rope to be thrown at us again. You know what I'm saying? And we end up screwing ourselves over because we don't listen. You know what I'm saying?
Nope,
And it's as simple as that. Like,
not at
we
all.
didn't we didn't listen, and that's the thing. Like, I this might be something of a hot take, but a lot of people say that life is hard. I this is a subjective argument because I can't speak for those in war torn countries and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
of course, depending on where you're at, this may not apply. But um, in our environment, I kind of disagree in a sense because life would be a lot easier if you listen. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Like, it'd be. I'm not gonna say it'd be like some super easy or whatever
it'd
the
be
hell, but it'd
easier.
be it'd be a lot easier if we
Jeez,
just
man.
listen and listen to common sense, listen to common sense, listen, and just make the right decision.
Because
And a lot of
a lot of times the conventional wisdom got that way for a reason. And what I've learned by reading more and more books, uh, side tangent, I've committed myself, not as New Year's Eve, but just as a way of habit building, right? So, one thing that I'm going to do, and it started this morning, I went for a jog and it was interesting because it was cold, like bone chillingly cold, right? I go out for a jog because I told myself every Sunday I'm going to try to jog, regardless of how I feel. I'm just going to go. And I was out there and it was incredibly cold. And I saw this old man as I was passing him up. And I did a lap and I was like, it's just too cold. I got to go home. So as I'm going home, I look around as I'm just about to say, I'll just jump rope in the garage. I see the old man still jogging. Man, let me tell you something. I was so inspired by that. I went and just put some socks on my hands and ran down to Kroger to buy some gloves. And it was the best. I was actually able to jog for 3 miles straight. And I've never been able to jog that long. So I was really excited that I pushed through that adversity. And so it was just, it's a really cool run. But I'm in habit building of jogging every Sunday. I have a little schedule, but I'm gonna try to do this for the podcast. Every 2 weeks, I want to come to you guys with a new book that I've read, um, a new painting, a new beat. I'm trying to make beats. I may or may not share these things with you guys, but maybe I will. I don't know. A new poem, rap, or whatever have you. And I think that's it. But I've also incorporated some other habits. Now I'm making kale, sauteed kale for at least 5 days out the week, and quinoa in the Instapot. Because I figure I can eat those in an avocado. Like that's a great meal prep because it's simple, and I know that I can eat it with any other meal that I prepare throughout the day. But anyway, so moving on.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm making this week, but I gotta get my meal prep on too. Like I have a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of pasta sauce left over. I just made some because I was bored and I had a little
Yeah,
bit of pasta
yeah.
left over. Um, I still have some chicken, but I
Mm.
actually let I ran out of kale, so I might just use the spinach and do something with that and quinoa myself.
Yeah, man,
I
quinoa is
think I'm
really
gonna.
good. But you know what? You know what I didn't
Mhm.
realize? Have you ever had quinoa and not liked it?
I've been fine with it.
So I didn't
Uh,
know. Well, this is the thing. I didn't know that you were supposed to wash quinoa this whole time. It has like this bitter outside shell on it. It has a really bitter outside shell on it, apparently. And it's gross. It makes it gross. But let's move on. Don't let anybody live there. Horrible one. Don't do it. Next. This is still in the majors, right? Don't take someone else's woman or somebody else's man.
this should be a no-brainer, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
dude.
Can you talk for me for a moment while I get my tea?
No, 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 no. That should be it. Go do what you do. Do what you
Okay,
gotta
yeah.
do.
Let me just.
I I don't understand why we live in a culture where I'm just gonna go ahead and just go on a mini rant in a sense. We live in a culture to where taking another man's girl is alpha. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably the lamest thing that. Not only that, but we make fun of the guy whose woman got took, and I don't get that because that guy was more times than none. Sometimes, the guy could be a dickhead, 'cause I've heard of a couple of stories like that. But more times than not, the guy that ends up getting their woman took, he's a nice guy, the family guy, the dude that goes to work, 9 to 5 type of dude, does all that. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, the guy that took the guy's girl is the alpha guy, the guy that gets rooted on, and the guy. I'm pretty sure this isn't the greatest example, but this is the example that we kind of sort of made it out to be the Will Smith Jada example. You know what I'm saying? Everyone clowns Will Smith, calls him they meme him, they make fun of him, they joke about him because he's not the guy, he's not the alpha guy. He's just I guess you could say this what do the kids call him, the cuck dude that got his girl took. You know what I'm saying? And it's always that that guy that got his girl took.
What about him? What about the
he's
guy that got
he's
his girl
always
took?
the guy that got his girl took is always the one we end up making fun of. Why? That's
Yeah,
what my rant was about. Like,
yeah.
why is it like that? Like,
I don't know. It just
and the
is.
thing is that usually the guy that get because it's like I said, sometimes the guy that got his girl took, he was a dickhead. But more times than none, he's not a dickhead. He's a good guy. He's this, he's that, he's the other, et
You know
cetera,
what the
blah blah
problem is?
blah.
You know what the problem
Mm,
is?
mm.
He's too nice.
What's wrong with being nice?
No, too nice when you're being a pushover.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, there's a difference between being too nice and just being a pushover. Because
No,
if you're
no,
just
no.
overtly,
I should put this as a rule too. You also have to know. which type of people to walk away from. Because there's certain type of people that will try to make you into a person. They think they can use you. Don't let them. Just don't let them. Just avoid those type of people. After a while, you get really good at seeing them coming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You get really, really good at.
Especially if you have a little bit of life experience. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like you'll see
They come in the same
that
package.
anticipatory desperation in the way
Mm-hmm.
that they lurk upon you, and then you just see it, and you're just like, this guy's trying to this guy's got he thinks he thinks I'm that guy, you know. And then the
Yep.
thing is that all you have to do is just walk away from them. You don't have to tell them anything. You don't have to
Yep.
do
Yep.
anything.
Just
Just
limit
walk
your
away from them,
interaction. Once you
or
realize who that person is, just let them be who they are,
hmm that's it. No,
and just limit your
that's
interaction with them. That's all you can
hmm
do.
that's how I do it, man. More times than none, because
Yeah.
I just don't I just don't want to get it to the point to where you say a couple things to that person, and then they just kind of sort of, try to, because they have they have a way of making themselves look desperate enough for you to feel sorry for them. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
And
they do.
I just and at the end of the day, the kind of people they prey upon quick more than none are nice people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they have
And if
to.
you're a nice person, you're going to be food out there. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
and that's see,
So
that's the thing. So here's the thing: if you're a nice person, I assume you're a nice person, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. If you're a nice person, you're like, man, I have a hard time telling people no. That's
hmm
fine. All you have to do is avoid those type of people. Like, okay, well, limit your interaction. Like it goes back to the thing that I maybe have talked to you guys about the previous week about exerting any type of what's the word I'm looking for? When you're trying to resist something, right? Like that's why I tell my wife don't buy cookies and stuff and bring them in the house because if they're in the store, I only have to practice resistance, you know, a couple of minutes or whatever. Whereas if you bring them home, I'm fighting it all the time. And I just lost my train of thought. What were we just talking about?
nice guys, and how
Oh,
they prey upon you, the
well,
vultures.
yeah, if you know that you're somebody that has poor boundary controls, just do better with identifying people that press on those and just limit your interaction because then you're not fighting constantly. Like I just don't once I identify that this is somebody that's always in need of something, I just start to distance myself from them. And you're going to say that that's callous. But let me tell you another really important life lesson that I learned about people who constantly have storms in their life. You need to look for where these rain clouds are coming from. Some people, you think it's just bad luck. But the older you get, you realize it ain't bad luck. It's a bunch of bad decisions that this person makes over and over and over. And they make them and they're so stubborn. Not they'll let people fix them for them, but they won't let people give them preemptive advice to prevent it from happening. These people are really weird. They're not always stupid people. They're definitely not always stupid people. Some of them have a modicum of intelligence. But what you'll notice mostly about these type of people is they tend to be they have a romanticized view of something, whether it be more commonly what I find, a man woman dating situation, or even somebody that with like different business ventures. They have this really idealistic way of looking at things to the point that they won't allow logic to intercede into their decision making process. How do you feel about that type of?
Well, I agree with you on that, man.
Okay.
Like I think the biggest problem with that is the romanticization of
Mm-hmm.
everything, the
Mm-hmm.
romanticization aspect, and
Mm-hmm.
the fact that it's like I said, I mean, one of the main things that I took away, one of the main things I got to say about that is that the whole bad luck proportion, like it's like I said, it's all about the decisions you make. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? If you if you get a DWI, that's that's not bad luck. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Conversely, if you're at a club and like one of your homeboys or somebody, so one of your homeboys around you end up getting hit, like I don't think that's bad luck either, because you're in an environment to where, and we could say we could say whatever kind of club it is, blah 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 blah, but you're in an environment to where there's alcohol being consumed and bad decisions are looming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been to every kind of club any kind of club that you could think of, and almost every kind that I've been to, gunshots have popped off one way or another. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and get out of there. So it's like I said, it's like you said, and I'm just gonna kind of sort of reinforcing that. Um, I don't believe in bad luck. I don't believe in, oh man, the universe is making my life a living hell. Blah. Nah, man. Like if you're in a situation where things are going wrong, you need to get out of that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
And for
you need
some
to get
reason,
out of
let
that
me tell
environment.
you, young people out there, I'm feeling old, but I'm gonna say it the way I want to say it. Let me tell you, young people out there, the situation that you think you're stuck in, you are not stuck in it. It only appears
So
that
glad you
way.
said that.
It only appears as if there's no winning this battle and there's no way of getting out. Thanks. That's Can you close the door? Thank you. That's not true. You have to think future state. If you think, yeah, there's not a way to get out of it right now, but what you have to do when you're in a tough situation outside of praying, which I will say is the most important piece, sit down and think about how you want the situation to look. Let me say that again. When things are going bad and you're overwhelmed, just sit back for a second and think how you ideally want the situation to look, not in its current form, and then start working backwards to try to make that thing a reality. And then write it down into parts. And then because when you write something down, you see that it's measurable parts. And you can, hold on. It changes things when you write it down because you can see it and you can see it's not as overwhelming and you just do it one bite at a time. I'm trying to eat.
Yeah.
Work out.
And one thing I realize about getting out of certain situations is one of the main reasons why it's not as easy to get out of some of those situations is because sometimes you have an attachment to someone or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
every job that I've had that I kind of sort of hated or really hated, I didn't want to stop because there's some kind of camaraderie about those bad jobs that keeps us there in a sense. That's where
Yeah.
it's kind of that we're all in here together. So
Yeah.
we really hate this, but we hate it together, and we because we like each other or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
And if you
I use
leave, you're out the gang.
yeah, you leave, you're out of the gang or whatever. But sometimes you have to ask yourself, what's more important, my mental health or my well being, or me kicking it with the crew every other day at
No,
work or
kicking it with
after
the
work. You know what
crew
I'm saying?
of people that are miserable. And then you
Yeah.
start to realize, a lot of times you realize that the further and further you get away from the job, the less you and these people actually have to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like if anybody's ever like linked up with an old coworker and then all y'all do is talk about things from the job. Oh, it's such and such. Oh, yeah, that y'all ain't really friends. Y'all just live in shared misery.
It's like this, dude. Like every time I use Outback for example. Every time we got off of work, I'm just like, dude, let's talk about something besides work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of stuff we used to talk about sometimes when we got out of work. But man, like sometimes it'll be like, something, something, something. Lacey this, Lacey that, Michelle this. Blah blah blah. They get on my nerves. I'm like, bro, dude. Like I'm at this place right now. I'm not at
Mm-hmm.
work no more. I don't want to hear none of that shit, bro. Like, stop. You know what
Dude,
I'm
you
saying?
very
And I had to
rarely,
do that almost, huh?
I said you very rarely will hear me talk about work.
No.
No,
Sometimes you
I don't.
be at work we be talking and you don't even talk about it.
Yeah, I just step out and do my own thing because there's nothing to talk about. Well, I mean, besides the type of field I work on, I can't really talk about my job anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the point. I don't. The moment I leave work, I don't be thinking about it no more. That's just how I am. So anyway, man, you know what? Now's the time. Now's a good time. Let's talk about this album because we're almost an hour in. So let me give a little preface to the group. One of the members isn't here, but before we did this podcast, we had a podcast. Your volume. Oh wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just realized I had my volume low.
Um. What was I gonna say? Somebody just texted me. What were we just talking about? One more time.
Uh, album,
Oh, album
other
magic.
buddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
podcast. Back in the day, we used to have another podcast called Bar Sessions. It was me and the two T's that you hear, Tagba and Tristan. And we really, I will say, it got me back into hip hop. I'm gonna play something random. It got me back into hip hop, but I decided to pick a very difficult format in which to review albums. What we decided to do was to review entire catalogs of rappers, and it was so time consuming. But all in all, I really enjoyed the experience. It got me back into music, it kickstarted it. So I want to bring it back just a little bit, just bring it back. Um, and it's going to be any album. Like I go random on Spotify, so the next one might be something crazy, something might not rap. But this time we're going to talk about Nas Magic. And I will say this: how I initially felt about it and how I feel now about it have changed slightly, but not much. And I will also say that this album, along with King's Disease and King Disease 2, has made me put Nas in the upper echelon, if not the best solo hip hop discography of all time. Tagba did bring up Scarface, and I think that is a worthy adversary. But even then, Nas's solo catalog is killer. And I don't want to say this, but we found it to be true. It seemed like his worst works were on Def Jam. I am trying to get this T out. And when he went over to Mass Appeal, which apparently is his own label, and I say apparently because I'm out of the hip hop loop and I didn't know that it was his thing. So it seems like he has a lot more artistic freedom. My favorite tracks on the album, my number one track is The Truth. That I'm gonna post it again. It made me make just a straight scrunchy face. Woo is for the children. Speechless, Meet Joe Black are my favorite tracks, but The Truth is my number one. How about you, Todd? And overall, I actually will give this album a 3.5 or 4. Leaning actually more towards 3.5 as I let it cook a little longer. All right.
I'm gonna preface this to say that anything lower than a 4 is disrespectful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's just my personal opinion. Like everyone has their opinions, you know. I know us hip hop heads have a tendency to be stingy on mics because we don't want to give an album 4 mics just because, you know, just off the strength, and I understand that. But um this is this is one of the best first listens I've had in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I was ripped, I was um, pulled in, listened to this album, listened to it again, listened to it again, listened to it again, listened to it again, and I don't see any flaws in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, no flaws, no skips. It's hard for me to pick a. It's hard for me to pick a favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
It opens perfectly. It ends almost perfectly. Like even with the B switch on dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the very first bar was kind of symbolic in a sense. Where he said, he went back into my past and then they sped it up. Basically, kind of a reference to rewind in a sense. Like he went
And
back
you
in
know what it
time and
is,
said, you
man?
know what?
He's so comfortable on the beats now too. Not that
Yeah,
he
like
always
it's.
wasn't, but he's a little more playful. Like I feel like those other albums, like when he was trying the different voices, like even the hip hop is dead. From I will say this, um, from an artistic standpoint, I kind of I'm understanding it more now, right? And what I mean
Mhm.
by that, I'm understanding it more as an artist. I don't know, and it kind of goes back to the thing that we were talking about a while ago. Why do we have this expectation that everything an artist does is going to come out perfect? And the reason I say that, or even good, because art requires experimentation. Everything isn't going to look a certain way. You got to fool with it to see what results you get. And so that you grow from it because you'll find things in between. Maybe this worked, maybe this didn't work. And, back to what type of learner you are. But apparently, when you're an artist, everything's just supposed to be fire and dope. And um, that's really not how art works. And as far as magic, I'm gonna just spend more time with it. I have a feeling, and that's the thing. I don't mind going back to it because it's so lyrically dense. It's like an avocado. It's kind of boring on the outside, plain rap, a lot of goodness in it. I'm pretty sure if I let it sit for a little bit longer, it'll end up being a 4. But I do hesitate to put it in a classic category. But it's a really really good feel. I don't. I'll put it like this: the floor is a 3.5, the ceiling's a 4.5.
You're being too. You're being. You're a bad actor, bro. You're being hypercritical, my friend.
You
You're,
think
you're you're
so?
breaking your own rules. You're breaking your own rules, man. You're over here. You're over here talking, saying, what you gonna call it? Like the thing is that um, I don't. The thing about the thing about giving it, the ratings and numbers and stuff is that, is
Mm-hmm.
this a 3.5 that you expect? Is this a 3.5 because you expect more from Nas, or is it a 3.5 because you think it's on the level of your average 3.5 album? Because here's a 3.5 album that I'm gonna throw out there. For example, um, Relapse.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw out another 3.5 album. Say, The Life of Pablo, for example.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw out another 3.5 album. Let's say, let
Oh
me
wait,
let
did
me
you
let
say
me.
Life of Pablo was a 3.5? Life of Pablo was gross.
Hey, this is just, I'm just doing this. I'm just doing this because I'm just doing this for unbiased
See,
purposes
I would say
where it is
Life
in
of
their
Pablo is like a
discography.
like a 2.5.
A 2.5 means it's average. meaning that there's no redeeming quality about it, and it's just bland. And I can't say that about that album.
That's how I felt about it. I wanted to throw it out the
Well,
window.
well, see, they see. That's the thing. Like that's where opinions are sent. Dissent. Now, the thing is that I'm using it. I'm using it as an example
I get you. I'm
because
just
I'm
arguing. So
okay.
you're
All
saying
right.
that it's above those works.
It clear. There's above and there's clears. It clears those works. Like let me use another example. Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous by Big L. Is it
Okay,
better or worse than that album?
it's better. It's you know what you know what.
That's a four
No,
mic
hold on, hold
album.
on, hold on. It's better than Confessions of Fire by Cameron.
See what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't feel that this is a 3.5, but I know what a 3.5 mic album is. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that some people might not feel it. I understand that you might not feel it,
Hmm.
but I don't call people at 12. You for example, I don't call people this late, this early in the morning or whatever for a 3.5 mic album. And I hear a
Yeah,
lot of 3.5 mic albums, bro.
yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Like I made a, I'm not, and I'm not, once again, I'm not invalidating your opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's just in my eyes, the floor is 4, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I can't. This is this is pretty much the across the board agreement that I've seen from most people. But if it
I just need to let it cook. That's all.
hey, I mean, and that's fine. I understand. Maybe it's because I've heard a lot of albums, and not to say that they're bad, but a lot of them are in that 3.5 to 4 mic range. And I heard this, and it was different. And I'm just like, wow, there's something special about it. You know what I'm saying?
No, you've heard a
But
lot of bad music. That's all.
I, no, I mean, and that's the thing. Like I have, bro. Like, um,
I think we all have, especially in this generation. Home audio equipment, like, really messed the game up.
I
It
would
really
say
messed the game up.
that. And the fact that everything's based on algorithms. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like they find that they hear a sound, it does well. Like for example, Roddy Ricch, he had his little hit, and they didn't make his last album based off of trying to make good music. His last album was based on what's hot algorithm wise, and everyone thought it sucked ass
Hmm.
because um everyone, what you call it, they thought that they were gonna get a lot of record sales for it. You know what I'm saying? Like Polo G, he sold fairly well this year, but you listen to those songs and you're just like, what? Well, I mean, there's nothing to it. They're not terrible, but there's
Hmm.
nothing special about them. It's
Right.
just
You're like,
okay.
well, it's gotten to a point now, old man time. It's gotten to a point
Mm-hmm.
now where it's just like, okay, you're like, I've been messing around with my iPhone and my iPad. You can do a whole song on that.
You can.
But the downside is that everybody has the same sound bank. Now, granted, you can be creative with it, but I see how easy it is to like you could crank out a halfway decent beat in like 10 minutes.
No, it doesn't take that long.
No, it's
I've,
just
I've,
like
I've messed
boom.
around. I've messed around with whatchamacallit, with Fruity Loops, and I mean, think about it like this: we're just clowning little baby. I mean, not little baby, the baby earlier. Bro has the same template on every song, from the way he constructs his hooks, from the way he does his bars, to the way his beats are. Like it's the same
It's
old
literally the same.
beat
Do do
pattern.
do 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 do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people eat it up because that's all that's available. You know what I'm saying? If you live in a neighborhood to where there's only a McDonald's, a Pizza Hut, and I've been in that situation actually, well, especially where I live right now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like if there's only 3 fast food restaurants around, that's all you're gonna eat because that's all you think that all you can see that's available. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But a guy like me who just put up a 50 album and I missed out on some. You know what I'm saying? A 50 album list. um, I don't, I realize that it's impossible for there to only be three fast food restaurants around because I can go to that little mom and pop store that sells that fries burgers in the back. I can go to so many different other places.
Yeah, I do. I hear what you're saying, man. Um, I'm reaching out. Just follow the link. There's a buddy of mine, old school guy. He used to make beats. Texting him right now, trying to get him to come on through the podcast, man. Hop on. But life lessons, man. I learned so many of my life lessons the hard way. Let me just run through one more time, give you guys a brief recap. I actually have some more that I didn't really finish talking about. Number one, don't give out rides. Don't lend money. Don't let anyone live with you. Don't take someone else's woman or man. I didn't really talk about this one yet. Hmm. Because how you get them is how you lose them. I can guarantee you that. Universal law. And also, you don't want to trust somebody who will cheat with you. If somebody's just a cheating machine like that, they're a deceptive person. Like, they have that in them. And I will say that whenever somebody is willing to be deceitful, they're willing to be deceitful all the time, not just in parts. Remember that. When somebody lies to others, they are willing to lie to you. It's going to happen. So if you get somebody by deceitful measures, I'm pretty sure that's how you lose them. That's just how the game goes. Trust me, I've never seen it work out in anybody's favor who took somebody or was with some. It's just avoid it. It's just whack. It really is whack. Like, trust me, it's not something you want to do. Smart people in advice, right? Most smart people I know take advice. They're okay. Hold on, let me send out a couple. They are okay with not being the one to bump their head and learning the right way, not the right way, and just you ever notice that stupid people don't ever want to take advice? Because I've noticed that, like, stupid people, when they have their arguments, they just want to know what's right and what's wrong. And if you challenge them in any way, all they do is start talking louder, louder and louder, because they're worried that you're going to expose their stupidity. Whereas a smart person generally has some level of intellectual curiosity. If you have an opposing view, they will at least just hear you out most of the time. Or they might not. Right now, I'm drinking ashwagandha tea with a little bit of lemon. It's delicious. Looking back on previous actions, kind of falls in line with the other one. That's really the only way you can grow. Unsolicited advice. This is a big one. I said minor because when somebody gives you unsolicited advice, it is an irritant, but it's not a game changer. It's not an end your world. And if you give somebody unsolicited advice, it's not always the end of the world, but it's really irritating. But I will tell you this, my unsolicited advice givers, don't nobody, wasn't nobody asking you. All right? Nobody was asking you for your opinion. It's really, yeah, it's really kind of unwarranted. And so the thing about it is, people don't like change and people don't like forced change. Well, when you keep giving your unsolicited slash forced advice to somebody, it's irritating. And even if your advice is correct, they're going to be prone not to take it because they just don't want to hear your mouth. And then I hear people say, Well, I'm such and such's friend. If they need advice, I'm going to give it to them. Fair enough. But then the question is this: which is more important to you? Giving the advice to somebody and they don't receive it, or getting the message across so they receive it and use it and avoid the danger? Whatever the answer is to those two, either one of those questions, you know, that's something you got to think about. If you don't care that you're saying things in such a way that people do not want to take your advice and still walking headlong into the danger that you claim you want to help them avoid, I just, it didn't seem like a good idea. Yeah, seemed like a very poor idea. But anyway, the next one, marriage advice. Don't give people any advice on their relationships. Number one, because you don't really know what the hell's going on. Number two, if you say something poor about the spouse, the person you're talking to doesn't forget it, especially when they stay together, and they're going to be embarrassed. All right. And they're not going to want to talk to you.
I, I
What's
don't.
up?
Here's the thing I don't get about that dynamic of relationship advice. There are a couple of things. Like, first thing I want to ask is, why do people either solicit or listen to advice from people that are single? And sometimes it's not just single people, your single level headed people. It's
Mm-hmm.
single people that have issues, whether it be
Well, think
with
about this.
relationships or just issues in general.
Think
Like,
about this, right? Because a normal, sane single person won't really give you advice about marriage because they don't know about it. It's only an insane single person that would give advice about something they know nothing about.
yeah. And the thing is that my problem, the thing is that we, I guess you can say that we're sane for the most part, but why do people listen to people that are single, sometimes perpetually, about advice?
Usually,
Sometimes,
perpetually.
you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it be marriage advice from some of the most irresponsible people I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, like I'm not going to sit here and act as if I'm a relationship expert because I'm not. I'm not going to solicit advice, bro. When it comes to anybody's advice, I mean anybody's relationship, excuse me, I'm not going to say a thing. Even if they're fighting right in front of me, I'm just going to sit there and enjoy my Crown Royal. You know what I'm saying? Crown
Mm-hmm.
Royal commercial kiss came out, so I just decided to say that. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I I'm gonna mind my business, bro. If there's, if there's one thing that you got to make sure you mind your business on is someone else's relationship that ain't yours, bro.
Yep.
Because they, I mean, you pull yourself into that, you might end up losing both of those people, if not
Yep.
at least one of them. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And
Because you're
I
gonna talk
personally,
about. Yeah, I've done it. It's stupid.
and the thing is that you have, depending on the situation, you have an opinion. You might even be right for whatever it's worth. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But it's none of your business, bro. Like, that's what relationship, that's what marriage counselors are for.
Yeah.
Or that's what marriage counselors are for. Like, let them take care of that. I know they're pricey, but if you want to, I mean, it, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna lay the smack down on anybody that has friends that are in relationships. Don't do it, bro. Just don't do it. Like, even if they ask you, don't
Yeah.
do it.
And they will.
Like, don't.
They will.
They def-
They will ask you like, "No, man, I'm trying to actually get this my mic stand to stand up. Can you hear me all right?"
no, you're good, man. You're good.
Oh,
I got you.
okay. I'm gonna get this thing all the way stood up because I like to stand while I'm doing stuff. And I think y'all have to excuse me. I think I just got the perfect height. Can you hear me?
That right there.
Really? It feels good too. I'm standing up.
No,
That's how I like
stick.
to do it. I just
No, stick with that.
what's that? Um, what was that? What were we talking about? I was in the middle of something.
Um, people in the just don't do it. Don't do it. Like if they say, "What do you think I should do?" Say, just tell them that you know what, you guys work it out with yourselves. If you can't do that, go to someone that's licensed to do that, and then of course do your research. Don't go to some random YouTuber. Don't go to some random YouTuber and say, oh, or type it in Google and just go over there and say, okay, because I'm sorry, I have to be honest with you. They're just gonna tell you what you want to hear, or they're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna use a couple of buzzwords. You're gonna hear some things, especially sometimes even if it's negative, you're gonna make a messed up decision. You'll probably end up losing somebody based on someone's opinion that don't even know you, and you're going to end up crying over it. You know what I'm
And let me
saying?
tell you something. I've ta- I've taken really bad advice from some really bitter people. Let me tell you once again, young people, people below the age of 30. Just because somebody's older than you does not mean that they're wiser than you. Old, young, all those young fools you know, a lot of them just become old fools. Like, don't believe the hype behind some of these people. Just because they're loud, brag a lot, and wah, 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 and do all that kind of stuff. And we have a tendency to mistake loudness for confidence and being assured of a subject. It is not the case. A lot of those loud, hyper opinionated people are are really stupid. All right. So just really look at the messenger, especially when it comes to relationships. If it is a old, bitter person and they're giving you any type of, huh, if that was me, I wouldn't. No, let me tell you something. I got this one from my dad because all he would do is listen. When this is the stream that I go in when people ask for advice of any kind. First, the way it starts off is they're telling me about a problem. I just listen. Depending on how it goes, I'll ask, hey, are you asking for advice? Or are you just wanting me to listen? If they just want me to listen, cool. I'll stop talking. I'll just listen. I'm okay with that. But if they ask me for advice, I'll ask them one more time. Are you sure that you want my advice? Like, do you want to know the truth of honestly what I feel about the subject? They'll say, yeah, okay. I'll say, all right, well, I'll give it to them. Now, if somebody asks me the same an advice about a married or even a patient, people in a couple, my advice is always the same. It is literally, all right, you have to accept people for who they are. That's all you can do. And if this person has a trait that bothers you, whatever it is, you need to make the decision. Can you live with it or can't you? Whatever the answer is, hey, Matt, how's it going? Whatever the answer is, you have a decision to make. You, not me. If they're them leaving their drawers on the floor is worth you breaking up your home, have at it. I wouldn't suggest it. I think that's really poor advice, poor idea. But I'm not going to give you advice on what to do about your relationship. In the same fashion, if your spouse cheats on you, I'm not going to hype you up and tell you to leave. I'm not going to say nothing because that's for you to determine. And this is another thing, young people. Don't bash somebody's significant other because what you will be interested to find out is they going back. Hold on, right here. I think this is it right here. They're gonna go back. They're gonna go back. And all that happens when people go back to a bad relationship, they just they stop talking to the people that they talk to the relationship about, because a lot of times they hyped up, got all hyped up, said all this, wild stuff, and then they embarrassed. They embarrassed because they back with old Joe Blow or Jane Blow. So if somebody's gonna do something and it looks really stupid, just let them do it. Just let them do it. Um, just let them do it. You'll save yourself. You'll save yourself some headache, them some headache. Everybody will be headacheless. All right. It took me a long year. If you go around trying to give people advice and then become frustrated when they don't take it, you're setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up for a very irritating life for both you and literally everybody else around you. You're kind of being a jerk. All right. Just just keep your advice to yourself. And then you realize that you'll be less stressed out. And when people do come seeking you advice, you'll be more than happy to give it, and you'll be more thoughtful of it because it's somebody that is asking you of your expertise. They're asking you. And so you don't have to worry about tone. You don't have to worry about pitch. And it's just like with money. When somebody comes to you in good faith and simply asks for your advice, whether they take it or not is actually unimportant. It's did they receive it? Because I'm pretty sure I'm like everybody else in this on this call. I had a dad and he tried to give me advice and I didn't always take it the first couple of times. First 30 times. But I will say this, like with money and I was always a big reader, but with money, bank accounts, credit cards and stuff like that, he put the seed in me. It didn't manifest till oh thanks. It didn't manifest till like I was 40. I'm actually still not that great with money. I've recently just given over control of that to my wife. I thought because I was a man, I had better spending habits. Like I constantly put us over budget. It's totally me. I'm eating this plant-based jerky. It's not good at all. So I'm not gonna tell you what it is. Um, my dad dropped some knowledge on me. He really did. But when you're young, you just don't want to listen. You want to do your own thing the way that you want to do it. Anyway, that's all I got. If anybody wants to call in, tell me a little bit about your life lessons, things that you've picked up along the way that you like to tell somebody young, whatever. Start 401k, eat better, work out, don't chase women, only buy pre owned, get the warranty dealership, pay somebody $25 to mow your lawn. It's
I
worth it.
got a little quick one that I got. It might turn into a rant. It
I'm
might
okay
not.
with that.
Stay home.
Boom.
Stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay home.
Why?
And it's not necessary. This doesn't necessarily. It's not always gonna be one of those nights where you want to stay home, but just stay home.
You should.
Like, and you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and I guess jump out of the window in a sense, but you don't have to go to the. I know you're gonna think I'm some old nerd, geek, dork, whatever the hell,
I was
but
a hard geek.
I mean, and I don't care because that's what I am anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get off of here and play my Yu-Gi-Oh game that I have on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Clubs are the most overrated
Mm-hmm.
adult activity that has ever existed. I've
Hmm.
played cards. I've played Magic. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh. I've played dominoes. I've shot pool, basketball, volleyball.
Can I intercede for one
Um,
second?
Go ahead.
It's funny that you say that because I was coming to a discovery, right?
Hmm.
Prior to technology, right, of any kind, what entertainment could you have that didn't involve another human? You want me to run that question back?
No, I'm still here. Like I'm just kind of sort of there's art.
Okay.
There's there's art.
Hmm.
There's I don't know if you could call it a hobby, but I mean, of course, you can hunt.
Okay. No, yeah. So,
Um,
do you notice a trend in all those things that you can do by yourself? They
they're
all
mentally stimulating.
they're all mentally stimulating, and they make you
Hmm.
good at something, right? Like
Hmm.
so when you think about it, all other forms of human entertainment, reading maybe, but all other forms of human
Writing.
entertainment, reading, writing, okay. But if you're sitting around doing that all day, you're still in pretty good shape. But and even then, and this is from a big reader. I used to be a big reader. Even then, you don't you don't read as much as you surf the internet. How about that? Even on your best reading days, on my biggest reading days, like sun up to sun up, sun up to sundown, I would do that. But that wasn't an everyday thing, and it also was completely. It was all about the book that I was reading. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't run into books like that at the frequency that I stay on the internet or social media. There's no solo activity that I have. I'm better now because I did a little dopamine detox. I'm actually reading a book called Dopamine Nation. It's really, really, really good. And that is my read for you guys to hop on. I probably need to have that in a more structured manner, but check it out. I can't remember who the author is. I actually could go check, but I'm not going to. Um, I lost my train of thought. But
The dopamine detox.
no, before that.
Dopamine detox. It's talking about things you do, the things you do the things you did on your own, without a human companion.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Exercise.
exercise. Oh, see, everything that you could do by yourself is really good. And if you're not doing that, then you have to engage in human interaction. We're at a very different point in human history. Human in this point in human history, you don't have to engage with any human for any reason. You could. There's nothing that there's nothing that you couldn't get directly delivered to your home. If you worked from home, you could functionally never interact with a human being for years if you wanted to, like ever, and be sufficiently entertained to some degree. Whereas if you took away all the technology, you'd probably be running out of your house with, not probably, actually, I give it a week for most people. Most people, if they don't have hobbies, if you took away all the technology in their house, they might go insane in 2 days, if that. But it would cause a lifestyle change in them in a positive way. You realize that all that TV that you're consuming, um, it's rotting you away, man. Because I was a big gamer, big TV watcher, and you don't get any like. I guess I got closer to 40. I started to realize that like being really good at Madden doesn't translate into the real world. Like you don't get any benefits from your 2048 Houston, Texas winning the 18th Super Bowl in a row. Deshaun Watson is your head coach. Like, it doesn't do jack squat. I will tell my gamers, I love gaming the same way you do. Don't ever stop playing if you don't want to. But just know, and there's no way around this, if you're spending all that time in the fake world, you're missing out on real life. All right. And you can use that same focus that you have to get to the next level. You can level yourself up in the same way. And it seems totally impossible and improbable. But I am telling you that if with focus, certainty, and just consistent execution, something will change. I was thinking about this. I was in the garage training. Wobble, 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 wobble. Because, it's my favorite place. I just like going there, hitting the bag. I'm really working on a southpaw stance. Like this guy is called Jojo Pajoran. And he's a southpaw who stands in a traditional Muay Thai long guard. And I really like it. But, I could go down that road. But I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. But I've really been practicing my Muay Thai. But anyway, I'm in there, wop, 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 wop. And I look and I wave at one of my neighbors and he sees me and I see him. And I'm like, man, I've been doing this every day for almost 2 years. And then it hit me. If I saw somebody, if I was just driving by and I saw somebody spend an hour to 2 hours every single day at whatever, I do think at some point I would just say, right, is that person going to be good at the thing? Yeah, 100% certainty. Because we seem to have certainty in somebody just when they have a plan and they're attempting to execute it diligently. Like, you just know that if somebody does something over and over consistently, regardless of their skill level, you just know inherently that something's going to happen, right? We're able to do that with other people, but we really can't seem to do that with ourselves. Like, we know victory is certain for them, but for some reason for us, it just seems like it's just so far away that you could just sit there and give all of your juice to something, um, a little bit every day for years on end, because it might take years, and that's okay. Um, that you're not going to get better at it. You will. You'll get better at it. And here's the thing, pick something you like. Because even if you don't get better at it, you still get to enjoy it. Like right now, I am making beats again, right? Not necessarily hip hop beats or anything of that nature, but just beats. And I'm just going to try to dedicate a little bit of time every day to just, beat making. And it's going to just really be whenever I feel like it. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself because I realize that's one of the things that I was doing. I can actually just play, just putting the pressure on myself. This is what I just made. Yeah, it's kind of hard. It sounds like an old J kind of beat. Yeah, I think it's hard. It moves. I'm just gonna let it play. But I don't know. I had some lyric written to it, like I'm the hip hop Freddie Roach, call me coach. Couldn't make it in the big leagues, let the beat breathe, something like that. Hold on, let me see if I got it. Uh, couldn't make it in the big leagues, let the beat breathe. Anyway, actually, couldn't make it in the big leagues, let the beat breathe. That's the hook right there. Couldn't make it in the beat breathe, let the beat breathe. Owen, how's it going? Anyway, um, we are actually hitting that wall. I was supposed to have a guest today, but we didn't link up. Partially more than likely because I forgot to reach out. But anyway, I'll try to make it right. What I will do real quick is I will go back through the life lessons. If anybody wants to call in, talk about them, feel free. I'll just keep letting the beat ride for a little bit. But don't give out rides. Don't lend money. Don't let anyone live with you. Don't take someone else's woman. Don't take somebody else's man. Don't, if you're a smart person, you may take some advice. You have the ability to look back on some of your previous actions and admit fault. Don't give out unsolicited advice. And marriage advice, don't really do it. The book that my book recommendation for this today is Dopamine Nation. I forgot the author, it doesn't matter. The album that was reviewed was Nas Magic. I gave it a 3.5. Tagba doesn't want to go lower than a 4. You know what? I'll give it 2 weeks. I'll cook with it and see where we're at from there. I don't know what kind of album I'm gonna review next. We did hip hop. I might just go with something random on my Spotify, pick some artists, and just see what the album sounds like, and just bring back what I got. Keep it funky.
I got,
Tagba,
I
you got
got a,
anything?
I got a couple. I think for challenge purposes, we should bounce around genres because we're getting up there. I want to try reviewing a jazz album. It's been a while, and if you
Okay.
if you need any suggestions, I can throw some at you. Like I actually I'm about to. I already made my top 50 hip hop albums list. Um,
You know
I
what?
made it.
How about let's do this? Let's do this. So I just picked a random artist. His name's Michael Mayo. You ever heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. He just dropped this album called Bones. That's what we're gonna review next.
All right, I'm gonna listen to it right as soon as we get
I'm
off
listening to it right
get off
now.
the horn.
I'm
Okay.
listening to it right now. I mean, it sounds cool. It actually sounds pretty dope. Hey,
I
I think
like
that's how
it.
we'll do it. Yeah. So we'll just spin the wheel. We'll just spin the wheel, and whatever comes up comes up. All we'll do. How about this? We'll just pick a genre. We'll switch it every week.
Hmm.
We'll come back around. We'll switch, pick a new genre, go down to Spotify, and just pick the first artist you see, whether you know their name or not, and we'll just
Hmm.
rock with it and just see what we hear. We never know what
No,
to turn on. I like it.
no, that sounds good. That sounds good. It gives us a little chance to explore
Yeah,
and
and then we can end
just
up on, we might end back on hip hop. So, what genres of music? You know what I? You know what? We're gonna have to like write it down so it can be completely random, or make it a calendar. You know what? Now we could make it a calendar. Now we could do random, or we could make it like this week we're doing ska and then just rolling the dice. And then next week we'll do trip rap. You know what I'm saying?
I my main genres are shoegaze, hip hop, trip hop, jazz, of course.
I want something that we
Um,
don't listen to. I want something that's just out there.
what
I just
about
want to go
folk?
through. I'll do it. I'll do it. What? We'll just. I won't say we'll just write down the genre because there's too many genres to. Well,
There's a website to where they have a genre map, and it's overwhelming to say the least. I
that's what
need
I'm
to find
saying.
out where
Like,
I need to find it. But no, I mean, when I say that, trust me, man. Like that's an understatement. Like
hold on,
it's
music. Hold on, genre map. Because you know what I'm thinking. It's like a challenge. Yeah, it sounds like a challenge. Now, granted, we may never, and we possibly will never beat this, but it would be cool to try. Simply, we pick a genre and then pick a random subgenre and just go for it.
that should be fun. That should be interesting.
That
'Cause when I
I
talk
yeah,
about any genre, I mean any genre. I'm
that's what I'm
talking.
saying. So
We
like,
could.
I'm looking.
I'm
There's
talking about
pop.
like
So they have it broken down like pop, rock, emo, and then we'll do the minors. There's rap and then rap metal group, and we'll just pick either some random like Roomba. We'll just say Roomba. Go to Spotify, put in Roomba, best of, scroll down, go six, and how about this? I'll pick a genre. So we'll do it like that. Pick a genre. You randomly pick a subgenre, and I give you a number. You go to your Spotify and go to the seventh artist down. If I say seven, you go to the seventh artist down from that, and that's who you pick. And you
That
just
sounds
pick
good.
whatever album comes up from that search. If it's a single, you go to the next person. You have to find an actual whole album. Yeah, that works. So I got to find a way to print up this genre map. Yeah, I think this is gonna be interesting.
Should be fun.
Yeah, why not,
It should
man?
be fun because it'll give us a chance to, like, even if it's
Completely
something that
branch
we're
out.
not, even if it's something that we don't really care for, it allows us to get out of ourselves and see, and wonder, like, what would someone that enjoys this genre like? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
or maybe
Like,
you never know. It could be that. Well, because like you could listen to one type of hip hop and think you could like, for example, you could listen to a certain type of gangster rap album that would make you think, oh, if this is indicative of all gangster, I don't like it. But like Doggy Style would tell you different. So even if I
hmm
heard something completely out there, my thought would be like yours. Well, what about this genre could people like? And then I would have to go to other types of artists in in the same, genre and see if it's just this guy or if it's other guys. I love music, just period, in any form that it comes in.
here's one thing I want to do. Okay, maybe you're gonna hate or like me for this, but
All right.
I want to, and this is just something that's been bugging me for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on hip hop Twitter, blah blah blah. One album has been pissing me off a lot lately because I heard it and I thought it was terrible. What do these kids see in Whole Lot of Red? Like, why is it
I never listened to
Rolling
it.
Stone? Rolling Stones just made it the best. You remember what we were going through with Eternal Ataki?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we didn't like it. We said it was a 2.5 ceiling. Um,
How does it?
it's worse than that.
Hold on. How does this album have 24 songs but it's only an hour long?
Which one?
Whole lot of red.
So a lot of those songs are one or like 1 minute 1 minute
Oh, two
songs to
minute
where he
songs.
just
Wow.
1 minute 2 minute songs to where there's one verse, maybe a hook, maybe half a bridge or whatever the fuck, and then he just goes on to the next song, you know. And I think a lot of the reason why they do that is because they're trying to get them streams up, bro. Like, one, you know, it's you know, anything more, I mean, at least, I mean, I'll give it one thing, it's an hour long. A lot of these albums aren't even that long, you know. The
Really?
Magic, we just, like, Magic is 30, but the thing about it is that when people get perturbed about albums being sub 30 minutes, that's how long albums always were. Like,
Here's the
albums in
thing.
the
I'm
70s and the
okay with
80s were that
quality.
long. Yeah.
I'm okay
So
with quality.
if I'm going to go through an album and it's anything more than an hour and a half, oh, not an hour and a half, that's a little excessive. If it's more than an hour and I'm going through half of it or skipping past half of it, I don't care about it anyway. So,
Yeah. And I mean,
I'm with
like,
you.
so, like we were talking about Nas and him possibly being having the greatest solo album run of all time. And this goes into your point. And this goes into a point about a Nas album that I really like. And I actually feel like it's underrated in his discography is a I Am. Because you got it Illmatic, it was written and you had a certain level of expectation. And he kind of went with more. I feel like it was honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it actually was a really good blend between Illmatic and it was written um, with the tracks. But so if you were to cut out the middle part, which is the part that I don't really like, which is Ghetto Prisoners, You Won't See Me Tonight, I Want to Talk to You, and Dr. Knockboot. And if you were to simply make the track list as such, New York State of Mind, Hate Me Now, Small World, Favor for a Favor, We Will Survive, Life is What You Make It, Big Things, Nas is like Kissing, Money is My B, and Undying Love. You actually have a classic album, easy 5 mics, and arguably that album in that construct would be better than It Was Written to Me. Like it would be right up there with the Illmatic and Stillmatic, which are my two classics. My really good albums, or I Am. What's another really good album? Life is Good is okay. I don't like Life is Good as much as everybody else. We've had constant debates about this. I'm just not moved by Life is Good. I
This is
don't
the
know what
same.
it
This
is.
is this is the same guy that doesn't like MF Doom. Every ladies and gentlemen,
No, I don't.
He's a
Let me
sinner and he's a charlatan.
let me tell you the albums and things that I don't like that everybody likes. I don't like MF Doom. I don't like To Pimp a Butterfly. I've listened to it numerous
Ouch.
times. Yeah, I just don't like it's cool, but it doesn't once again, the way that I factor my music is do I come back to it? If I come back
Yeah.
to it, it doesn't have anything to do with lyrical ability. It doesn't have anything to do with this album being good or even the album being bad or that the mastery of it. I don't gravitate towards it. Is Pimp a Butterfly a good album? Yeah, it is. It's a great album. It's really interesting some of the things that he does with it. I don't enjoy it. You can't make that. It's art. And if you don't enjoy it, you just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've gotten away from this thing of thinking that my opinion and my mic thing is the end all be all. No. Life is simply about shit you enjoy. And if you have horrible taste in music, what is me beating you over the head trying to make you listen to the quote unquote superior music going to do? Nothing. If you like the shit, you like the shit. That's cool. That's fine. It's totally
I
cool.
mean, it's a waste of time trying to get someone to think like you, man. It really
Yeah.
is. And it's not even just about getting people. Like I say what I say about a whole lot of red, but like
Mm-hmm.
they hear something that they enjoy, and I'm just like, you know what? That's them, and I'm not gonna go on some KRS-One rant because of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna be Mr. A, this is real hip hop. Let's go throw fucking Playboy Cardi off of the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool, you enjoy that, but I think it sucks ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna change my mind saying that it sucks ass. I mean, you don't like To Pimp a Butterfly. I do. You know what I'm saying? It was one of my favorite albums that year. The only album, the only two albums. The thing about it is that um as a as a frequent as a person that frequents hip hop Twitter for
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit, almost every day actually, uh, you're not To Pimp a Butterfly is a relic on there that is the only thing that there are two things that you're not going to beat on Twitter when it comes to polls, and that's To Pimp a Butterfly or Kendrick himself as well, or anything that's Kanye related. If you go up against those things, like you're just not going to win. It's
Right.
impossible. Like To Pimp a Butterfly is these kids omatic, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I just
And
don't.
I'm
I don't
not.
see it. I don't see
You
it.
see what I mean?
I
Like
just don't see it.
that's
No,
that's
I'm
that's
just
that's
saying. Like, here's the thing. Like melodically, it's good. What he's doing with the vocal inflections and the beat is good, but like it just doesn't do anything for me in that way. You know
no,
when
no, no.
like
I understand, and I understand
like
that.
when you talk about Illmatic or when you know how you know like when something touches you in that way when you talk about it and you're like I got to go listen to that one more, yeah, it's been years but I got to listen to it real quick. And as much as I hate to say it, the album that I look back and I don't have that I always said it was a 5, I'm gonna have to re-listen to it before I make this statement, is Redman's Muddy Waters. I absolutely love that album as a child, as a kid, right? But I have to
Well,
hold on. I just
let
make
me.
sure. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not looking at it through revisionist history because I haven't listened to the album in a long time. I'm listening.
Oh, here's the thing. I mean, I got two things on that.
Nah, it's still dope.
Um,
It's still
See what
good,
I mean?
yeah.
See
Yeah.
what I mean?
As soon as I put
All
it
right,
on.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, maybe that's maybe that's the thing here. Like a lot of these kids are that love that hold to Pimp a Butterfly in that regard. They heard it when they were say 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they heard it in their youth, and you tend to love things a little bit more in your youth. What if we were? The thing is that we don't have one thing about being an adult is that we're cynics, dude. Especially when you're critiquing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we're cynics. We don't want to. We don't want to say. We don't. We have our little egos, and we don't want to give things their props. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to. I mean, when we're not gonna. Like I even saw a tweet earlier. Like this
Mhm.
kid said that. Kendrick Lamar's "Good Kid, Mad City," the Kendrick Lamar album that I prefer more than "To Pimp a Butterfly." Fly, by the way, he said that "Good Kid, Mad City" is better than every 1990s album, and I laughed because I said, "Bro, like 1996 alone,
Dude, you want to hear something crazy?
which muddy."
You want to
Go
hear
ahead. I'm
something?
sorry.
You know how long Muddy Waters is?
Hmm.
1 hour and 7 minutes, and it's 23 songs.
Yep. What skits?
Yeah, but I just was sitting there clowning Cardi, what's his name, for doing the same thing. I was
Yeah.
like, how's it 20? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm trying to be honest with myself and not look at things through revisionist eyes. Like, I'm trying to actually listen to these songs like from a kid's point of view, and I could get how they wouldn't be blown away.
Now here's the thing, though. Like a lot of these kids on hip hop Twitter, I mean, we always talk about the same albums from 1996, 1995, 1994, the Illmatics, the sometimes even from 1988, a few from, it's kind of funny because we always, the forgotten era in my eyes is say 1989 to 1992 when the Chronic came out. Not to say that nothing happened in between that time, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't, of course I can talk about before 1988 as well, but
Mm-hmm.
that's closer to now in a sense. So for some reason, we don't really talk about the first few Scarface albums, the main source, whatchamacallit, Breaking Atoms, as much as we talk about Illmatic, ATLiens, freaking, whatchamacallit, um, Hard Knock Life. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it's whatchamacallit, the very beginnings of. I understand with De La Soul's discography because it's not available on streaming as much as these other albums are, but like those albums don't get talked. I think the only group that gets talked about like that is Tribe in that era. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And maybe and of course Ice Cube. There may be 4 or 5 acts that you hear about that are from that 1989 to 1992 stretch. But outside of that, of course NWA, but that's that's tied in with Ice Cube. But you don't really hear some of those not as mainstream acts talked about as much. But back to
What's going on with
Ray.
Antonio Brown, man?
Um, I think that he just needs help, and
Yeah, I thought it for a while. I remember I
I'm
told
I'm
somebody that it's like, he almost strikes me like, I don't want to say is that what I think his diagnosis is, but it's like, I knew it about the whole Raiders thing. I was like, okay, something's not right with this dude. Has Redman dropped
no.
any? I haven't liked the Redman album in a long time, man.
He dropped a little 3-pack last year that was
80
legit. It was
bars.
yeah, but it left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what? I think he should go. I think what would really help with him is for him to go with a different type of beat. Like there
he's
was a
tried that
song,
before.
There was a song with him. Well, keep trying. It was him, Method Man, and Loaded Lux. I want to say. I don't remember, but I always used to see it all the time, and he fits really good on those like I don't know. I think he's in guess. I think he's like in Jamal Crawford type territory right now. Like I don't think that Redman can carry a song by himself anymore.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I know it just sucks to say, and I wouldn't want him like slapping me if he was like, "Oh, what?" But it's like, man, in
That's
all
funny because
honesty,
that's
huh?
no, that's funny because that's what it is. That's one of the most popular singles that he just came out with. Slap the shit out you.
But like after Muddy Waters, I started liking him less and less. Like Doc's the
Doc's name
name.
is legit.
No,
I
no, hold
liked it.
on, no, no, it was fine. And then Malpractice came out, and I was like, I still bought it, but I was just like, it wasn't that good. Blackout was kind of dope. Blackout was different. Just hearing Method Red like this joint, just hearing them go back and forth made it worth it.
Hmm.
4 seasons, yeah. Meth and Red, that's up. It's up there with Jada and Styles.
I think I know Redman's problem in a sense.
What's that?
Um, he's a stoner rapper,
Yeah,
kind of like Wiz Khalifa. And once you hear them, and the thing is that he's more comedic, where Wiz is kind of laid back. But once you hear stoner raps a certain amount of times, you get to the
you
point to
know
where
what?
like
You know what? You're really correct because something. And you know what? Red's 4 bar setup and even his punchlines are really dated right now. Like in his beat selection, like he's you will notice this if you're a rapper, if you've ever done it for some time. You'll start and you can tell a rapper by his basketball references, right? Rappers will tend to date themselves by their rapping, by their not rapping, by their football analogies and their basketball ones. Because anybody in a certain age is going to ever say like AI in a verse. Like you have a tendency to use the basketball terms of the players that you most identify with in the age range that you're in. Like it just is a weird thing that rappers do. They always because you'll hear some '80s guy talk or some guy from a little older rap guy be like, "I hit you like Willie Moleskine did." He be like, "Who the fuck is Willie Moleskine?" And that was the baddest man that's ever. But it'll be a common reference. Anyway, that's just a little thing for people who don't rap. Well, that's the end of the show. That was a really, really fast 2 hours. We talked about life lessons. I'll probably Green Eye Phoenix. Hey, everybody, anybody, next time call in, talk about it. I'll probably bring back the life lessons um, 2 weeks from now. So I record every Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Love you guys. Talk to you later.